You have been promoted to the destroyer. Okay. Those who are, many of you don't necessarily realize it, and some of you do know what happens when you move the way you do. Some of you do not. And this way of being is not from a place of like malice. It's from a place of love. It just so happens to hurt really bad to those who end up being the ones who get destroyed by your energy. Okay? And this is a spirit message. Good day, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome to Milk Honey Rose. I am Mystic Alchemy. Thank you for being here. Okay, so this is tying me back to that message from some days ago about your tears being very powerful, and your tears and the echo of your frequency does send out the troops. Okay, they spiritual. Can't see them, but you can see them. You see them through the response of the one that has caused you to cry or caused you to be in some type of pain, especially when you were innocent, when you were deemed to be someone who was innocent and you didn't do anything. It's one thing if you do something, then you are going to meet a karmic cycle to get that rectified. However, for this particular message, this is someone who was innocent and all you gave was love, right? Okay. Now, many of you have become, what do I want to say? Okay, when you go through things in life that hurt you and you begin to understand the purpose of them and the state and condition of the person who affected you emotionally in such a way, you begin to heal quicker from the traumatic experience or experiences as you continue to go through these transformations in your life. Okay, the more transformations you endure, the more strength you have and the more resilience you have. It's like how can I say? It's ranking up. That's what it is. It's increasing in rank every time. So those that hurt you on purpose, they didn't realize that they were actually opening a doorway for you. And when it first happens, it doesn't feel like that. It feels horrible. When it first happens, it doesn't feel like any doors are open. It feels like everything is closed and everything's horrible until you recognize what's happening, until you recognize how difficult this realm is when it comes to being a earth school, because this is exactly what it is. And this space teaches you how to endure the afflictions of demonic energy. Now, many of you have become very skilled in this area to where you're in that frequency of directing the energy that tried to attack you or that was sent to attack you. You end up directing it. And a lot of you have this energy already and don't really recognize it, and you're still pulling through the sadness trying to figure out the whys. And that's okay, because that's a phase that has to happen in order for you to gain understanding and be able to acknowledge every moment of transformation, death, and rebirth. Okay? But you become the destroyer when you learn how to snap into your logic instead of being so emotional, because you'll recognize that the emotions are just a guide. That's why we have emotions. They're supposed to guide us, and the logic is supposed to land the ship. Okay, it's supposed to bring you back to reality and tell you, okay, this is what it is. It's almost like having a coach. It reminds me of like a coach in a what's that? A boxing ring. How when they take a break, they get water splashed on their face, they put water in their mouth, they rinse their mouth out, they all lumped up, greasy, they smacking Vaseline on their face, everything's glistening, the light is shining, you got somebody yelling in your ear trying to tell you what to do next. It's like your higher self and your spirit guides become that coach, in the boxing ring of life, okay? And also your past experiences become the coach. And you're like, I went through this before. I know what this is like. It might be a little different, but I know what this is. And every time I feel better after a little while. It doesn't last forever. It's temporary. And you become so, what's the word I want to say? It's like being suited with armor is what happens to you spiritually. Every time you go through those experiences, it creates this spiritual understanding that it makes you damn near invincible. It really does, because the way you think, that's what it's really about. Now, many of you are on the path to becoming a destroyer, and many of you have become a destroyer already. And it's in your code, it's in your signature. Once you rank up high enough to have gone through the traumatic experience, to learn from them, to understand them, to then become very masterful in that space, to be able to teach somebody else that needs help. This is why you become like dangerous at that point to those energies that try to attack you, because you can convert them as well, and they don't like the demonic energy that is within them. They don't want to be converted. So it's they're either going to be converted or they're going to fall. It's like that type of thing. That's why I think that's why Spirit gave me this message in this way, that you have been ranked to destroyer. Okay, because once you get to that, once you get to that point, your energy becomes very intense. And when you speak, the frequency of your voice, Spirit is saying something very scientific. They're saying it shifts, it heals DNA. It heals mutated DNA, because it helps those who have been completely taken over by these demonic energies. It helps them to recognize themselves again. It's just very difficult for them, because they're in that stage of feeling like they don't deserve to be loved, feel love. It's like that weird space. So it destroys and annihilates. And that's like the sublimation of the ego. It's completely annihilated into pixels, okay, particles, where they're trying to pick themselves back up because they don't even know who they are anymore. And it's primarily because these individuals were taken over and didn't realize they were. They thought they were just acting like themselves. And it felt good because they were picking up the false energy from the demonic energy that was attached to them. And they think that energy comes from them, but it's actually coming from the demonic energy that siphons from people around them. And that energy will siphon from anybody. It will siphon from friends, family, whatever. And the friends and family will have such love for this person that some of them going to be like, you know what, I'm not dealing with you right now because you're stressing me out. And they will detach from them, because this person's energy can be very draining. And it could be like demeaning. This energy has a way of putting people down and making people feel like less than, because that's where their source of energy comes from. It comes from playing people. It comes from saying crazy things to people to make them feel real tiny. It comes from people around them expressing like an interest or a accomplishment that they want to share with their friend or family member or like romantic partner or whatever. And that person, instead of, showing congrats and giving flowers, they instead say, oh, really? That's not really going to go anywhere anyway. It's kind of like real funny style activities. So that's where this individual gets their energy from. So when you come around and you've been through that before and you can call it out and you know what it is, you are a destroyer. You destroy that type of energy, because your energy shifts into a warrior. It shifts into this warrior energy, and your ancestors, like, how can I say? I see it in my mind. It's like they lift you up in that moment. Like in that moment where you thought you didn't have any more and you couldn't do no more, they lift you up, and then you realize, oh no, I got to keep going for me. What you talking about? Wait, hold on. It's like a reminder of, no, that person is not for you to fall. That person is for you to be raised up. And a lot of people get stuck by mistake and they fall because they didn't know any better, and they didn't have nobody to tell them, and they didn't take the time to reflect on their own to recognize what was happening. But I am here to tell you, when you are betrayed like that and you're hurt and somebody makes you cry and you feel it in your soul, that is an experience for you to be ranked up, not for you to lay down. Okay? Because the energy will shift, and they'll be the ones who want to just be like, forget it. And they may do something to try to keep themselves, focused, but they will be in disarray. And it will be a mental imprisonment, like a spiritual imprisonment that they will have to go through. And they'll have to truly go through it. Excuse me. They'll have to truly go through it in order to be able to retrieve themselves, if they can, if they are bold enough and strong enough to go through the ego death, because that right there is the hardest part, because it snaps them into reality and into the truth of the matter, and how they've been behaving themselves, and how they could trick themselves into thinking that they were doing things for people that were good when they was really just hurting people around them and doing everything for like self gratification. And yeah, of course, we're supposed to love ourselves and make sure that we abide by our own rule, and then be around those who align with that and who respect it and who you respect. It's kind of like a only reciprocated energy is allowed. And it's hard because this person is not used to that reciprocity. They're just used to the one-sided siphon train. So anything other than that is very uncomfortable for them, because then that means they would actually have to care, and they're not doing it just for an image to be perceived in a certain way. It's really doing it because they're moving from a place of true love and favorable intention, good intention. So yeah, you destroy those people. You have been ranked to destroyer, just in case you didn't know, because that energy switch that you undergo when your ancestors remind you of who you are and what this realm is about, all that love that you were given, they can't have it anymore. You take it away completely. They don't get nothing. They don't get not a drip drop of peace, not even a piece. Okay, not even a piece, so you can keep your peace, and that is why you have been ranked to destroyer. And that is it for this message. If you resonate with this message and you see how this energy has been aligned with you for spiritual purposes, okay, for the betterment of this realm, drop it down in the comments below. I declare that this energy is an aspect of my love. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe if you feel in my vibe, especially if this message does resonate with you. To book a healthy conversation, you can by visiting www.milkhoneyRose.org. Also, you can join the membership here on YouTube to gain access to additional content. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.